Happy holidays, everybody. Around this time, I always find myself thinking about all the different ways that we connect some people.
Yeah.
And I bet some of you out there are thinking about sending out those holiday video messages.
And the holidays are kind of this perfect opportunity to re-engage with people in a way that feels natural and timely.
Totally. To help us with this, we've been looking at some tips inspired by Doug Lehman.
Right.
He has a YouTube channel all about video creation and communication, and he explains it all, as he says, in Lehman's terms.
I like that. What I find so interesting about Doug's approach is how he really gets the psychology behind a successful message. He doesn't just tell you what to do, but he explains why it works. Like he's always emphasizing the importance of a call to action,
Yeah,
even in a simple holiday greeting.
I noticed that. He doesn't just say happy holidays. He'll ask viewers about their plans for the new year
Oh,
or suggest ways to collaborate.
exactly.
He's taking that holiday spirit and turning it into an opportunity to build those genuine connections.
Exactly. He's making it a two-way conversation instead of a one-way broadcast.
Yeah.
And during the holidays, when people are already feeling more open and reflective, it's the perfect time to invite that kind of engagement.
Okay, so let's say you're on board with this idea. You want to make a holiday video message to reconnect with people.
Okay.
What are the key things to keep in mind?
Well, first off, keep it short and sweet. We're talking like 20 to 30 seconds max.
Oh, that's short.
Yeah. In today's world, attention spans are precious, so you want to make sure you can deliver your message in a way that is concise and impactful.
Makes sense. And the tips we're looking at really emphasize that less is more approach. It's about quality over quantity. But how do you pack all that meaning into such a short amount of time?
That's where structure comes in. Think of it like a mini movie. You need a beginning, a middle, and an end, even if it's just a 20-second clip.
So it's not just about winging it and hoping for the best. There's an actual strategy behind these messages.
Absolutely. And the document we're looking at today suggests a 5-part formula. It starts with a strong opening greeting, something that grabs attention and sets the tone right away.
Okay, so like, hey everyone, it's your name here, wishing you a happy holiday season. Yeah. Something like that.
Exactly. You want to establish that festive connection right from the start. Then you move into what they call an engagement prompt.
Oh, so this is where you bring people into the conversation.
Precisely. Instead of just talking at your audience, you invite them to engage with you. The document suggests asking open-ended questions like, what are you most excited for in the new year? Or what's one holiday tradition you're looking forward to?
I see. So you're not just delivering a message, you're sparking a dialogue and doing it in a way that feels natural during the holidays.
Right, and once you've got their interest, you move into the quick update section. This is where you can share a few highlights, maybe a recent accomplishment, a project you're excited about, or a glimpse into your personal life.
I like that. It's a way to showcase what you've been up to without going into a long, drawn-out explanation. Keep it short and sweet and enticing.
Exactly. And this section can also be a great place to direct people to other platforms where they can learn more. Maybe you mention a blog post you wrote, a new product launch, and you can include a link in the video description.
Okay, so we've hooked them with the greeting, engaged them with a question, and shared a quick update. What comes next?
This is where you bring it all home with a call to action. This is a crucial element, especially if you're trying to reestablish connections that maybe haven't been as active lately.
So what kind of call to action works well in this context?
It depends on your audience and your goals. You might suggest a virtual coffee chat in the new year, propose collaborating on a project, or simply encourage them to reach out and say hello.
It's like planting a seed for future interactions.
Exactly.
And because it's framed within the context of the holidays, it feels less pushy and more like a genuine invitation to reconnect.
Exactly. And then you wrap it all up with a warm closing wish. Something like, wishing you all a joyful and peaceful holiday season, or cheers to an amazing new year.
Okay, so we've got the structure down, but what about the actual delivery?
Yeah.
What makes a holiday video message feel authentic and engaging?
That's where things like tone and style come into play. This is something Doug Lehman really nails.
Right, he has this very approachable, down-to-earth style, like he's just chatting with you over a cup of coffee.
And that's exactly the vibe you want to aim for. Casual, conversational, and relatable. Like you're having a genuine conversation with a friend or colleague.
So how do we translate that into an actual video message? What are some concrete tips?
Well, first and foremost, be yourself.
Yeah.
People can spot a forced or insincere message a mile away.
So ditch the corporate jargon and the overly scripted speeches.
Exactly. Speak in your natural voice. Use language that feels comfortable and let your personality shine through.
And don't be afraid to show some enthusiasm. A genuine smile and a bit of energy can go a long way.
Absolutely. Enthusiasm is contagious, and it helps to create a more positive and engaging experience for your viewers.
So it's like striking that perfect balance between professionalism and personality.
You got it.
Yeah.
And remember, even though we're talking about structure and strategy, the most important thing is to be genuine. Let your message come from the heart, and people will respond to that. You know, one thing that really stood out to me when we were looking at Doug Lehman's videos was how he uses those calls to action in such a creative way. It's not just a generic "let's connect."
Right.
He tailors them to the holiday season and makes them feel relevant to that moment in time.
Oh, that's a great point. Do you have any examples? Because I think that's where people sometimes struggle,
Right.
how to make a call to action feel natural and not too salesy.
Right, exactly. Well, in one of his holiday videos, he asks viewers what their biggest professional goals are for the new year.
Okay.
And then he follows that up by saying something like, "I'd love to hear your ideas and see if there's any way we can support each other in achieving those goals."
That's so smart. It plays on that feeling of new beginnings
Right.
that comes with the new year.
Yeah,
And it positions him as someone who genuinely wants to help others succeed.
precisely. And it's not just limited to professional goals.
Okay.
He's also used the holidays as a springboard to talk about things like favorite traditions or travel plans.
Okay.
And then he'll invite viewers to share their own experiences, creating this sense of shared community.
I see. So it's about tapping into those things that people are already thinking about during the holidays.
Right.
And using those as a way to spark conversations and build connections.
Exactly. And those conversations can then lead to more meaningful interactions down the line.
It's like he's building a bridge
Yeah.
between the casual holiday greeting
Yeah.
and the potentially for something more substantial.
Right. And speaking of bridging the gap, let's talk about how to transition from that quick update section into the call to action, because that can sometimes feel a bit awkward, right?
Oh, totally. You don't want it to sound forced or out of place.
Exactly. The key is to create a natural flow between those two sections. So, for example, let's say you've just finished sharing a quick update about a new project you're working on.
Okay.
You could transition into the call to action by saying something like, "I'm really excited about this project and I'd love to get your feedback on it."
Or if you're working on anything similar, I'd be happy to connect and brainstorm.
Exactly. You're essentially extending the conversation and inviting further engagement.
And because you're doing it within the context of the holidays, it feels less like a sales pitch
Right.
and more like a genuine desire to connect and share.
Precisely. And that leads us to another important aspect of delivering a successful holiday video message: authenticity.
I think we touched on this earlier,
Yeah.
but it's worth emphasizing because it's so crucial.
Yes.
You can have the perfect structure,
Right.
the most compelling call to action, but if your delivery feels forced or insincere,
Yeah.
it's all for nothing.
You're absolutely right. Authenticity trumps everything. But what does it actually mean to be authentic in a video message?
Yeah.
Especially one that's intended to reach a wider audience.
That's a great question. It's easy to say be yourself, but how do you actually do that when you're facing a camera?
Well, for starters, it's about letting go of the idea of perfection.
Okay.
Don't get too hung up on trying to sound or look a certain way.
Yeah.
Instead, focus on being present, being genuine, and letting your personality shine through.
So embrace those little imperfections,
Mm-hmm.
those quirks that make you unique.
Exactly. Those are the things that make you relatable and human.
Yeah.
People connect with that.
So we've talked about being authentic, but how do we bring that authenticity to life through our delivery? What are some practical tips?
Well, one thing that Doug Lehman does really well is using language that feels natural and conversational. He avoids jargon, he uses contractions, and he speaks in a way that feels like he's just chatting with a friend.
Right. It's like that in Lehman's terms approach he talks about.
He's
making things accessible and relatable.
Exactly. And that sense of relatability is key to building trust and rapport with your audience.
So it's not just about what you say, it's also about how you say it.
Precisely. And that brings us to the importance of nonverbal communication.
Okay.
Things like eye contact, facial expressions, and body language can make a huge difference in how your message is perceived.
Especially in a video
Yeah.
where people are picking up on all those subtle cues.
Right. So even though you're not physically present with your audience, you still want to convey a sense of warmth, engagement, and authenticity through your nonverbal communication.
Okay, so let's break down those nonverbal elements. What are some specific things to keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, make eye contact with the camera.
Okay.
It might feel a little strange at first, but it creates a sense of connection with your viewers and makes them feel like you're speaking directly to them.
It's like that saying, the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah,
Even through a camera lens, people can sense when you're truly engaged with them.
absolutely. And don't forget to smile. A genuine smile can go a long way in conveying warmth, approachability, and that holiday spirit we're going for.
And it's contagious. Right. When you see someone smiling, it naturally makes you want to smile back.
Exactly.
It creates this positive feedback loop.
Exactly. And then there's body language. You don't want to be stiff. Hand gestures, nod your head and lean in when you're making a point.
It's about bringing that energy and enthusiasm into your physical presence, even if you're just sitting in front of a camera.
Right. And all of these nonverbal cues work together to reinforce the authenticity of your message and create a more engaging experience for your viewers.
So it's like a symphony of communication, the
Yeah.
words, the tone, the facial expressions, the body language, all working together to create a harmonious and impactful message.
Exactly. And when all of those elements are in sync,
Yeah.
that's when you truly connect with your audience on a deeper level.
But we're not done yet. There's still more to explore when it comes to crafting that perfect holiday video message. We'll be right back after a quick break to delve into the visual aspects, things like lighting, background, and branding, and how those can impact the overall effectiveness of your message. Welcome back. We've been talking about how to create these short and engaging holiday video messages, especially if you're trying to reconnect with people in a meaningful way. We talked about the structure, we talked about authenticity, we even touched on those little nonverbal cues that can make a big difference. But there's one piece we haven't talked about yet, the visuals.
Yeah, it's funny how we can sometimes overthink the message itself
Right.
and forget that the visual presentation matters just as much. You're essentially creating a mini production,
Yeah,
even if it's just you in front of a webcam.
totally.
So thinking about the visual aspects can really elevate your message.
So where do we even start? Lighting?
And
Background?
there's with the backdrop.
Hmm.
You want something that's clean, uncluttered, and complements your message. Avoid anything too distracting or busy. A simple wall, a bookshelf, even a tastefully decorated holiday setting can work well.
Okay, so keep it simple, keep it professional, but how do you avoid that talking head in a boring room look?
That's where a little creativity comes in. You can think about incorporating subtle elements that reflect your personality or your brand. Maybe it's a piece of art that you love a plant or a few strategically placed holiday decorations.
I see. So it's not about going overboard with the visuals. It's about adding those thoughtful little touches that add personality and visual interest.
Exactly. And then there's lighting. Good lighting can make you look more polished and professional, even if you're just using natural light from a window.
Okay. Any tips for those of us who aren't exactly professional videographers?
Sure. Avoid having a window directly behind you, as that can create a silhouette effect. Instead, position yourself facing a window or use a lamp to create soft, even lighting on your face.
Makes sense. It's like those portrait photography tips. Flattering light makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. And if you want to step things up a notch, you can even invest in a simple ring light or a softbox. They're relatively inexpensive and can really dramatically improve the quality of your lighting.
So we've got the background, the lighting. Anything else we should be thinking about in terms of the visuals?
Well, if it's appropriate for your brand or business, you might consider incorporating a subtle logo or some simple text overlays. For example, you could have your name and title appear on screen for a few seconds at the beginning or end of the video.
That makes sense, especially if you're using this to reconnect with professional contacts. It's like a visual reminder of who you are and what you do.
Exactly. And if you're sharing links to other websites or social media profiles, you can include those as text overlays as well.
I see. So it's about using those visual elements strategically to reinforce your message and provide that additional context.
Right, but remember, even when it comes to visuals, less is more. You don't want to overwhelm your viewers with too much information or distract them from the main message.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We talked about everything from crafting a compelling message to delivering it with authenticity and polish. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that idea of reconnecting with people in a meaningful way, because ultimately that's what these holiday video messages are all about, right?
Absolutely. It's about taking advantage of this special time of year to reach out to people, rekindle those relationships, and build new connections.
And these videos can be such a powerful tool for doing just that. They allow us to connect on a more personal level, share a bit of ourselves, and express our gratitude in a way that feels genuine and heartfelt.
And it's not just about sending a message and forgetting about it. It's about using these videos as a springboard for ongoing conversations and interactions.
So it's not just a one-time thing. It's about nurturing those relationships and building connections that extend way beyond the holiday season.
Exactly. And as we head into the new year, think about how you can continue to leverage these strategies to stay connected, build community, and create meaningful relationships that enrich both your personal and professional life.
What a great reminder. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive. We hope you found these insights valuable and feel inspired to create your own engaging and impactful holiday video messages. Happy holidays, everyone.
Well,